Hello, everyone. Welcome to No One is Perfect podcast. Hi, Marty. Good to see you.
You too, Christy, always.
Oh, so today we are, we've been talking, Marty and I have been talking quite a bit about the world and all of the uncertainty that's happening and us as human beings being at the mercy of a few people and not knowing what do we do with that and how do we regulate our nervous systems and how do we become aware of that instability within ourselves and not knowing what is coming next and not knowing where the world is headed because we are a global community now and it's creating what I've noticed and I'm sure everyone has, it's creating so much division with families, parents and children and siblings and communities and then society, the ripple effect of division and hatred, and I would say the need to be right on whatever stance you have. If someone doesn't agree, it's creating it. To me, it's like a tear, like it's literally tearing families apart and relationships apart because there's so much fear underneath the stance that people are taking. And as you and I talked, Marty, I think the most important thing is our reaction, internal reaction and regulation in a world where we don't have any control.
Yeah.
And so that's our conversation is
Talk
today
about
is
surrendering.
yeah, and how to notice when we get activated, how to notice when our body goes into that fight, flight, or freeze. What are the signs and how do we regulate and come back to some sense of safety within our own bodies and our hearts? Because that's to me that's offering coming from a space of internal calm versus internal panic or rage, which I don't think is helpful.
No, no. No, I so agree with that. I mean, it's funny, I would say, I'm just going to go back to even during the pandemic, like what feel like I'm seeing more in living color is the divide. Like you
Mm.
said, families are torn apart. That happened back then, it's happening now. And I do follow some astrology people, whether you believe it or not. I just started following because I would have certain weeks when I was working with clients, and I'm like, they all seem to have the same thing going on. So
Mm.
I'd ask my friend, and she goes, "Oh yeah, this is going on." So from an astrology perspective, it's more like everything that's not working is coming to the surface. All the corruption, all the things that aren't working, that's all coming to the surface, ultimately to be healed, to create space, call it the age of Aquarius, but for new and better to come. But it's also like um, it can be very messy
Mhm.
first. I always use the analogy. It's like when you decide to clean out a closet that's just had, or say a garage that you had stuffed full of stuff forever. I have one like that, a garage. It's like you pull everything out and it's a mess. Everything that you're pulling out just looks like a mess. But then you're sifting and sorting through it and getting rid of the stuff that you don't need and keeping the stuff and getting organized. And then you put it all back together and it's like you can breathe.
Mhm.
And that's really what I personally see is going on here. Does it mean I enjoy seeing what's happening all the time? No. Does it mean that it can't be triggering? No. But I think something we've talked about, Christy, and forever is just how do we stay aware of what's happening to me, what's happening in my body, what's happening in my mind and emotions, and what if the gift that I can give the world is to stay as regulated as possible for me so that I'm not contributing to the hysteria, the rage, the division, all of that. Like, what if, like, oh, in my world, things can be okay? Like I can be calmer in the face of it. Like, you get to face, like, sit with reality and see what's going on, but not become so dysregulated by it that you're overwhelmed and kind of incapacitated.
Yeah, because It's really the only thing that we have control over
Yeah.
is what's happening and to begin to notice what's happening. And I think it's really important, Marty, and I say this as a practitioner, but also as a human being, when do I notice in my own self when I become dysregulated, angry, shut down, I want to punch someone in the face, like what's happening in here?
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
so my hope is as we do this podcast together today, Marty, that we can offer some of the things that you and I have learned in our own ways to as a gift for people to do it in their way, but to have a few tools of when they notice in the awareness of dysregulation. What does it feel like? What does it move like? Sometimes what does it sound like? And then bringing in some of the tapping and being present with what is so it can move through us without bypassing it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes.
you were speaking about astrology, and I think it's important to bring this part in of a huge movement in, I would say more religiously, of the end of times. Like
Oh, right.
I'm hearing that a lot too. And I think, okay, and if it is, because I don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows,
Right. Who
they
knows?
don't. I think it's a changing of our times.
Yeah.
And even if your brain is going to the world's going to end and you know all of these catastrophizing kind of ideas, your body and your psyche is following suit because it doesn't understand that it's not happening right now.
Right.
If we go into fear,
Absolutely.
our bodies go into fear, even though I'm sitting here in my house
Yeah.
doing a podcast with Marty. If my system believes the end is here, my system is going into that fight or flight freeze because it believes what I'm telling it is true.
Right. That's such a great point, Christy, because the nervous system, thus the body feels what it feels. And I mean, that's why, like in the tapping world, we've all had that experience where, like, God, why am I having this reaction to this thing that seems so innocuous?
Yeah.
Because trauma has come up. And then people judge themselves like it was something so innocuous and I'm so triggered. That's trauma.
Mhm.
And if we remember, and to your point, it's like, oh, that's what's happening for me. That's why I'm so activated by everything that's going on because it's the trauma response.
Yeah.
And to me, the key is to always try and remember to not make ourselves wrong for that, to
Yeah.
find ways. I think of a breathing exercise and a tapping exercise that we can do in a little bit that are both so calming. The one tapping exercise, which we've done on here before, I learned a long time ago and then kind of forgot about it, but then got reintroduced to it a couple years ago. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's such a great technique. Another way to soothe the nervous system.
Yeah. Because if we're a parent or if we're caretaking someone, I do think it's important to regulate so you don't scare your children or you don't scare your people. So what's happening here? So that is our conversation today, is what
Yes.
is to ask yourself, like a good example is when you watch the news. I know when I watch it, because I do like to stay informed. I don't watch it a ton,
Right.
but when I watch it, my nervous system gets activated.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when I notice it, I notice a tightness in my chest
Mm-hmm.
and my tendency to like contract my body, which will be in my jaw usually, because that's my point. When I notice that, and usually I notice it after a few hours because it collects. The
Oh,
more
yeah.
I think about what I just heard and what might happen and what is happening, I start to notice that. And like I may feel tension in here. I may start to feel like a stomach ache or like I'm not really catching my breath. That would
Yeah.
be how my system, based on when I watch the news, that I notice happens physically.
Right. Yeah, that's such a great point, Christy. It's just that self-awareness. We always talk about it's a cliche, but self-awareness is the first step. And when you become mindful of like what's happening for me, and that's why I always tell people if you're going to watch the news, just tap. Even if you just sit here and tap
Because
and
what does
watch
that
it,
do, Marty?
it helps regulate like as you're watching it. So tapping is most effective with the presence of emotion. So you're going
Mhm.
to be watching the news, you're going to start to get activated. You can just sit there and be like, wow. And it's going to help move the energy through you
Mhm.
rather than it staying stuck in you. That's why it's like I've told people just go ahead and watch it. I would highly recommend you just do this,
Yeah.
sit here and be like, wow, like because then you're and then what it does when we calm the nervous system, there's a thing called a cognitive shift that can come when a cognitive shift is your brain just comes up with like a different way to see it.
Mhm.
It's like all of a sudden, because the prefrontal cortex goes back online, and now you have access to that more slower, creative part of the brain that's like, yeah, but what if actually this is meant to happen? Because it's like kind of like a cleanup job or, whatever it is. Um, but, that just kind of guarding against catastrophizing. And I say this, which I say all the time, I can catastrophize the potato chip. So, for all of us that can and then watch the news and you can be like when I watch the news a lot of times I'll get it from comedians or I go into it with this like curiosity like the psychology is the thing that just fascinates me about what's going on right now, so I watch it from this like psychological viewpoint like wow, that is so interesting. It doesn't matter who I'm watching or what, it's like I go into it, which actually kind of helps me be a little bit more removed from it, is like, that is a fascinating psychology. Like, that's so fascinating that somebody sees it that way or thinks it that way. And that can create some space and distance, as can, wow, this is really triggering me. The other thing that I do find is like anything that's going on in the world, the governments all over the world, it has that ability to re-traumatize us.
Yeah.
So it's there. You can also look at it like the mirror, like a partner can be the mirror. Well, the world events can be a mirror to let
Mhm.
us know if you're getting overly activated by something, if trauma is really coming up. It's really just information in its most basic self to let you know, oh, this is triggering some trauma in me that needs my attention.
Mm.
And to me, that also helps kind of create some space and be like, whoa, I've got this. It doesn't mean you're going to sit there like, oh, I'm going to be all zen about it because it's triggering trauma and there's no problem. It's just more like, wow, I definitely have some stuff that's unhealed. I always think of, we're not going political here, but even the victimization that we're seeing a lot right now and how that can re-traumatize people and just be like, I just have to tap through this. It's information. And what if it really is here to help me heal?
Mm.
And when we see it that way, I heard this thing recently that the question to ask, which I like, oh, I love this one. And it's so basic. And I heard it years ago, but forgot what am I meant to learn from this? Like, what am I meant to learn from this? What am I meant? And I'm like, wow, like that just sets the brain in a different direction of like, why is this happening? And what, oh, like, what
Yeah.
am I meant to learn from this? What am I meant to heal from this? Can be another one.
Yeah. Because it creates curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think part of the uncertainty that happens is the rigidity that's happening is the need to be right.
Oh, yeah.
And people, can we be curious in our perspective? It doesn't mean anyone's right or wrong, but can we be curious instead of letting our fear and our uncertainty get projected outward, which does create that
Right.
catastrophe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what I find fascinating is if that is left unchecked, what I'm seeing is people getting upset that you're not upset.
Hmm.
Why aren't you mirroring the same fear, whatever piece that is? Why aren't you mirroring the fear something's wrong with you? Like, and I'm like, oh, that's really fascinating.
Right. Oh yeah. No, there, you know what just popped in my head, Christy? United we stand, divided we fall.
So
That,
true.
and I think of like, what can I do to create more, of unity rather than all the division? Doesn't mean, like I said, that I don't sometimes want to bang my shopping cart, because I do, and sometimes I choose to, if it's like something, near and dear to my heart. But it's also like, yeah, what can I learn from this? How can I create more unity? How can I go in and find out where's this person coming from? That's why I've at times too made a point of watching different news
Mhm.
stations.
Yeah.
It's fascinating,
Well,
just
it gives you
fascinating to
perspective.
see the propaganda,
Mhm.
like that. You're like, well, no wonder
Yeah.
each place, each side, there we go, feels the way they do, because it's what are we being fed?
Right.
And that comes back to that united we stand, divided we fall. It's like, how can I be more part of the solution,
Yeah.
than the problem, which is a work in progress for sure.
It totally is.
Yeah.
I think to your point of how can I be part of the solution is noticing when you get dysregulated. And some of those signs would be like looping thoughts of fear, catastrophe. I would say also like connection to like doom scrolling for a long time because we're not accessing our own feeling state and having that be our go-to to avoid what we're feeling. Another one would be, I would say, over explaining and talking so much
Oh, yeah.
that you're not giving room for other people to express
Right.
and
Yeah.
wanting to project that onto another. And then literally in the body is where am I contracting? Fear
Yeah.
in general is often held in the base part of the body, in your hips, your groin, and your legs. So if you can begin to notice, and especially as we do tapping, to really feel that base part of your body relax as we tap, as we make room for what is present and let it move through us, like you said, because that's the only way I believe to get regulated is to feel it and move through it.
Absolutely. That's why tapping, if you're going to watch the news, it helps move that energy through you, because you're going to be feeling emotions as you're watching something, and then you can help move it along,
Mhm.
so it doesn't stay stuck, or it stacks on top, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm a wreck, and all that stuff.
Well, and I see that's where I love tapping, Marty, because it's naming the emotion. Like you just said,
Absolutely.
I'm a wreck. And what if? So naming what is present without judgment around it
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
creating a bridge, which is what tapping does. Create
Hmm.
a bridge so the body can relax, so we can access our breath. Because if we can't access our body, there isn't safety.
Oh, it's so true. And it's funny, when I'm dysregulated, Chrissy, I am so aware of my body, and like the heart's palpitating, like not palpitating, the heart's beating faster, and
Mhm.
my energy is more anxious, and I'm like, whoa. And that's when I know I'm like, I need to tap, or at least breathe, in for 4, out for 6. That's the one for me, that it's a calm down breathing technique. It helps to regulate and bring safety to the body, and it's easy enough to do. In for 4, out for 6, in for 4. Even if you do it 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, I
Mhm.
definitely feel the shift. And then with tapping, you just hit tap if you're anxious first. And then I love the pressing tapping, where you just press, and then you're thinking about calming down,
Mhm.
relaxing, you're holding, calming. There's something about not doing this in those moments that is like, oh, that's really it's like settling the body.
Yeah.
Those things help to settle. And even that word, settle, settling the body, settle. Oh, imagine that. Imagine.
Well, it becomes a space and it's a practice for all of us. I don't think anyone has this mastered. I don't, because
If
life
they
happens.
do call us, we'll
Yeah.
interview you.
Because life happens and dysregulation happens. And the practice of even a few times through the day of checking in with your breath. I would say also noticing your feet on the floor. What does it feel like? And can you lift your toes and relax your toes? Lift your heels and relax your heels. It takes us out of that mental loop and into noticing, and then we'll do some
Yeah.
tapping. But if we can feel safe in our own body for a moment, it will help regulate the
Yeah.
body. And then we don't come from a place of fight or flight and that reactionary piece that we're seeing live all the time. There's so much violence happening because the reaction is coming towards people.
Right.
Or there's an internal, sometimes it can be exactly the opposite, an internal shutdown because of complete terror and fear.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so true. I took a women's self-defense class this Saturday, and I was thinking about that. I mean, I've gotten in quote verbal altercations with people, never a physical thing. But I was like, I want to do that. Just, and I did a study years ago about like, who do predators go after? They go after people that are more insecure and that. And it was incredible. It was a man and a woman doing it, and they just, kept telling you to come back to this isn't the place to be nice or kind. This is the place to step up for yourself and stand up. And I thought about the whole time I thought about like just even taking that class and now knowing that I have a couple techniques if I've never needed in my life, but if I do, at least I have them. There's something about that that's regulating in and of itself. It's just like pre-planning it, like just to know a couple things.
It's a resource.
It is a total resource. And then it was, and in the class, we partnered up and it was all women except the guy is big, like he's a big guy. And so I was telling him, hey, well, a couple of us were wondering, like, well, what if it's a big dude on top of you? He goes, you want to try it? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we did it, and he was super respectful the whole time, like, you okay with this? And he had me pinned down on the ground, and I flipped the guy. And it was like, whoa. And I think it's kind of to me, I see this similarity. It's like, just do some things. Like, I'm going to watch the news because I want to stay informed, but I want to do some things, or even if it's just breathe or be conscious, like what's happening in my body as I'm watching this. You're like, where is it showing up? Where am I feeling it? Because then you're bringing mindfulness to it, which it's that you're watching the part of yourself that can get dysregulated. That creates some separation and space.
Yeah. And that's our gift that we're giving today is the awareness around that because we both, I know I practice it, you practice it, Marty. And
Yeah.
like I said, there's no perfect in any of it.
Oh, yeah, no.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you're going to get dysregulated and what have whatever reaction, but can we practice
Right.
that muscle?
Yeah, Chrissy, like you've been doing your work a long time. I've been tapping close to 16 years now. And I'm like I said, I still can get highly dysregulated.
Yeah.
And I think to think that like that's life in a body as a human, it's going to happen. And it's like that it just goes back to what can I do to like at least regulate myself in this moment? Not like I'm never going to get dysregulated ever again. Good luck.
Yeah. That doesn't work.
No, that's a setup for like, oh God.
Well, and
So,
I think it's its own I think it's its own trauma response, to tell you the truth.
oh, 100. Oh my gosh,
It's
so
the
well said.
disassociation of denial, which isn't
Yeah,
negative. It's still a response though.
exactly. Yeah,
So there's many responses, and most important thing is what is yours?
yeah. And I think that's really the point you and I had talked about getting across on this is just like I would say bring mindfulness to it. What's happening for me? I'm watching the news. Do I think the end is near? Like if it is, how can I regulate even in the midst of that belief? Like
Yeah.
this is the end, it's like it's funny. I have this kind of attitude. Well, if it is the end, we're all going out together. It's
Right?
just sort of like there's nothing I could do about it. So it's like,
Yeah.
and how can I stay as centered in myself regardless? Otherwise, you're going to stay in perpetual dysregulation. It's just going to get harder and
Yeah.
harder and harder, you know?
It makes me think of too, Marty, like I know for me growing up, the end was always near. Like
Yeah.
that was part of the religious piece of it. And I remember feeling so scared and so stressed. And then one day going, well, if it is, then it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Tired of
Christy,
being afraid.
yeah. I mean, I think, I grew up Catholic, which and it was very cultish, the Catholicism I grew up in. And I was like, I realized I was born, like brought in, instilled with terror. I went
Mhm.
to a Catholic school from four 4 years old all the way through high school. You're like, oh, shocker that I like have trauma and terror and think, and mine, the big one for me is I'm gonna go to hell.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn in the eternal fires of hell and damnation for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's terror, terror.
Well, and wouldn't you say too, and I bring this up because I think it's relevant that going to hell, yes, and if you choose differently and you're not perfect and do all the things, that's also part of that. And so it
Absolutely.
becomes a manipulation tool. And I feel like on a that's a smaller scale of what's happening
Yes.
on the collective.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that it I just think we keep recirculating back to
Oh,
how can we control ourselves when we feel controlled? Like it's
yes.
such an interesting
Yeah.
dynamic that is so real and it's a global piece.
It is. It is. And it's, yeah. I mean, you could wake up every day and be like, what's happening now? And just go
Yeah.
right into terror. And it's at least like, maybe I should just like do some regulation stuff first before I listen or scroll or do anything. I
Yeah.
mean, my first thing in the morning is, take a hike.
Hmm.
It's just huge for me to take a hike. I love it. Get my dogs out. It just feels really good to do it. I do it way more than I don't, a day or two here and there I miss, but it's just, it just really helps to start the day with like its own little victory, you
Well,
know.
it's self-care, which is
Absolutely.
self-regulation.
Yeah. Yeah. And trust me, I could still get dysregulated on this, like, "Ooh, get over here. Okay,
Yeah.
get over here. Okay." Like that.
Yeah.
But it's still like, so, yeah. But I
And
just think, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
well, I think, and this is my advice to myself and also clients that I see, is I noticed this the other day, like because of the amount of static and all the
Mhm.
different things that that means, I went on a walk and a meditation. I'm like, oh, okay, Christy, this is self-regulation, like literally saying that out loud.
Oh,
You're doing the things that you know how to do to regulate, and that's enough.
yeah.
And that might be helpful to name it and to tell, like I will have people touch their body and say, this is touch. This is what it feels like to breathe. This is self-regulation by coming into slowing down and
Yes.
noticing what's happening. But
Yeah.
to tell the body, thank you, literally out loud, thank you, and I'm listening.
Yeah. 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 The body's the partner through this life,
It
and it's,
totally is.
yeah. And I just think that is such a gift in my view that is the best gift and the thing that we can do is be as aware as possible and regulate as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because then you might be driving and you're not going to be in road rage or in terror, like you're not going to be like constantly dysregulated. And it's not really fun to be around people who are constantly dysregulated because people's stuff comes up and it's like, yeah, I just want to like do my part. And
Yeah.
then I also think it can help people feel a lot less hopeless and helpless, you know,
Hmm.
in the midst of that. It's like, yeah.
It does because if we can bring presence,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's instead of 100%, it's 50%,
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah.
It matters. And
It
we,
does.
we can only do us. Like that is
Yeah.
like the mantra of the day. Do you,
Yeah.
and what are you doing to bring more peace to the world? Because it
Yeah.
comes from internal first.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
calming systems down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we'll go into some tapping and then a few practices about noticing the body.
Yeah.
And yeah, I appreciate this conversation, Marty, because I see so many people t in terror
Yeah.
of the unknown. And I think we're all in it together. And
Yeah.
may we do this piece together as part of bringing uh, awareness and a tool to someone to help them come out of panic and terror.
Yeah, and it always pops in my head, Christy. I think like this is like 2.0 because during the pandemic there was terror of death.
Yeah.
Like there's terror of potential death now. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, so again, like how can I So this is where I want to do the settle tap. The first thing I would tell people before we tap is that breathe in for 4. Let's just do it 3 breaths right now. So you're going to go in for 4, out for 6 and
Okay.
breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So breathe in for 4 through the nose, out through the mouth for 6. Just do it 3 times. And here we go. Yes, I definitely feel just an ebb of calmer, you know.
Mhm.
Just that simple thing. You do it for 2 minutes, golden. So the tapping is you could start by tapping, and you don't have to say anything here. You're just going to listen to my voice. And you'll start tapping on the side of the hand and just think about the idea of settling, calming, regulating, settling the body, settling the mind, settling the emotions. And then you go to the eyebrow, same thing, just settling, calming, releasing what needs to be released, letting go a little bit more. And now, side of the eye, you're just tapping, settling, calming. And now, under the eye, settling, calming. Now, slow down the tapping. And now, imagine just pressing on that part under the eye. I immediately notice a difference just in the pressing and think about calming, releasing, regulating. And now go under the nose. You're just pressing, calming, releasing. Now the chin point, calming, settling. Imagine your body, your nerves, your emotions just smoothing out a bit more. And now collarbone, you can do two hands on each side. You can do one hand if you want open palming. I like this because it has kind of that soothing feeling. Just settling. And then under the arm, settling. And then top of the head, just calming, settling, releasing a little more. And now just imagine like ragdolling it, moving your neck around, dropping your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, and then just like slump over ragdoll. And then just slowly, as you're ready, put your hands on your heart. You can put one on your heart and one on your belly. Take three more breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then just let your hands drop to your lap. And slowly, as you're ready, open your eyes. How you feeling?
It was fabulous, Marty.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's just calming. Didn't take long.
No, it's very easy. And the one piece I would love to add is as you do the tapping, to also connect your feet to the floor.
Mm,
Feel the floor, the earth underneath you. If you're sitting or lying down, to feel your butt in the chair, to feel your body supported. If you're laying down, to feel your whole body supported. That part of Mother Nature, the earth, the holding is present. And then allow yourself to ask, what am I feeling in my body right now? You could do it before you tap, you could do it during and or after. And to be aware of, where do I feel that tightness or pressure or heat? And you can put your hand on it. So
mm-hmm.
it could be on your jaw, it could be on your legs. As you tap into your body and how it communicates with you, to start to get more familiar with that, and then ask what is here, because naming what is present that emotion helps to, like you said, move away from it, but bring presence to it, which reduces the reactivity and or isolation,
Yeah.
right? It can be a
Yeah.
reaction, but that reaction can also be going numb or retreating, closing all the windows and doors and cutting everything out. There's many ways we react. The most important part is how do you react
Mm-hmm.
when you get afraid? How do you react when you get angry? And then can you be with that part of you, like with the exercise you just did, of bringing awareness to the body and slowing down and observing it, being with it. And what happens is you'll start to notice that you will feel a sense of control because that's why we get dysregulated
Yeah.
of the unknown. And so please know we're all in this together because we are.
Yeah.
And our intention, Marty and I, we talked about this before the call, was to really surrender this podcast to that greater whole that we could bring something
Mm-hmm.
that truly is why we're here.
Yeah.
And if this podcast helps you calm down even 10%, then we've been successful.
Yes.
And please share this with anyone that you know might need some understanding around what is a reaction, what is awareness, what am I going to do? How do I make it better internally?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
such a gift to do, give that to ourselves and to others to help them,
yeah,
calmer.
it's a beautiful gift. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Marty. And
Thanks,
thank you,
Chris.
everyone, for listening. Please share this. And
Yes.
there's plenty of episodes on our page now,
Yes.
YouTube page, and we're on different podcast platforms. So, please feel free to listen and share as you go along. So, thank you, Marty. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Christy.